supply is cut off, it's considered well threatened, and you're gaining 5 victory points per game turn. So those two are the greatest winners for the Confederates. You also get 5 for holding Harrisburg. You get 10 just to capture it, but if you can hold it, you get 5 more. So Lee's got potentially 10 every game turn up there if he can take Harrisburg, and that's a doable proposition because unlike places like Washington and here, but Hooker's probably going to leave that quickly, it's not fortified, so it could be entrenched up to 4 strength points, up to 4 points, which is essentially a 4-point modifier on the die roll, I believe, but somewhere like Washington already starts at 10, could be entrenched up to 14. So Harrisburg really is takeable, and Baltimore also has fortification of 8, so it's going to be very costly to attack Baltimore or Washington, and you're not, it's not really doable. You might destroy your whole army trying to get that, and then Hooker could just mop you up afterwards. So that is a definite target for Lee. But again, if he's concentrating his force there and holding it, then he's not going to be besieging Washington. So it's probably going to be either this or that, because does he really have time? Not really, to get up there, do that, and then move back here and do that. Decisions for Lee to make. Then and then if the Confederates capture Baltimore, they get 20. Not likely. They also get 5 for Union depots, an automatic victory for capture of Washington. Okay, it might happen, but Hooker's going to be in the area while you're throwing your men to death against the trenches of Washington. He's going to knock into you from the side. So these are really just to keep the Union player keeping those places with forces in those places, keeping reasonable garrisons in them, so that Lee can't just swoop in. And yeah, so that's about it. So you see, Lee can get a lot of strength points by threatening, a lot of victory points by threatening Washington, and or staying north of up in Pennsylvania, and he might stay in Pennsylvania instead of doing Washington, get the same as threatening Washington from taking Harrisburg. So the question is how quickly can he get there, and how many points can he accrue over the game turn, competing against Hooker, who's going to be not taking these, but might be earning, say he's moving up against you, he will be earning none of these. He might send a force off to earn 30 points for the depots, but that's going to negate 6 turns of besieging Washington or holding Harrisburg out of 22 turns. But if he's saving his APs, he's rolling on the political table and gaining there. So the question is, how many APs do you cause Hooker to use so he can't get a good politics roll because he's so busy running around chasing you? The government are not so satisfied with the situation. So that's basically an overview of the game turn and sort of the key points. I think I'm going to cut this video now and come back. No, actually I had to, this is the start of a new video. My phone cut me off saying I'd reached the maximum length. So this I will continue if I can later today with a deeper explanation of what happens when you enter an enemy hex and the all-important skirmish and battle rules. Okay, so to finish my procedures and rules summary for Killer Angels, there are 4 things that need to be explained. The first is reaction. The second concept is the contact, third is skirmish, and fourth is battle. So we start with reaction. You can see there's handy explanations, and the rules are very, very nice, very nicely laid out, the case numbers. You also get at the back, you don't get an index, but you do get something that's very useful, a glossary. You get one for the basic game and another one for the advanced game, so you can see that's quite a lot of, and it is case marked here, so, and it's alphabetical, so track marker, cases there, and a quick explanation of it, bridge, contributing leader, contact routine, etc., difficult terrain, escalation, etc., etc. So reaction, what this means is that essentially if you're moving past an enemy unit in the enemy leader's reaction range, they can roll under their equal to under their initiative value and move in reaction to your move. Now the movement still costs them action points, so they must have action points left. Now this brings us to one of the key things of the game, and I didn't get this in my first try of this, but then I read the player's notes and it explained the importance of pickets. Now I'm just going to quickly throw some counters down to try and explain this to you. So essentially, say we have okay, that's not the best counters to illustrate this. Okay, I should get some off the map. Okay, so say we have Union forces here. Okay, so we got a Union headquarters there. Let me zoom in a little bit. So we've got Union headquarters here, and we've got, so there's a headquarters and the leader, and we've got a Confederate headquarters with his leader there. And the Confederate player is moving, so he moves one hex for the headquarters. If he's on a road, maybe two more. Now we have a leader here, and his contact reaction range, who is it? I didn't pick up a leader. Okay, let's say it's Schenck. His reaction range is 0. Fortunately, he's garrisoning Baltimore, so we won't worry about him. But if, say, I'm going to have to move this and get Hooker out. Oh, I've lost him. Okay. Well, just for the sake of argument, say his reaction range is 2. So that's 1, 2 hexes. So this leader can roll. If he rolls under his initiative, then he gets to move. He could spend an action point and move 1. Now, if the Confederate has, say, is on the road, you would alternate. Then the Confederate could move another. Say he was on the road, he might get another. He might be able to continue that move then and move into your hex. And now, then you would go to the contact routine. So you see that's that classic reaction movement. But there's a slight twist in this game which makes it very interesting in this case. So now say this is Trimble, and he's got a reaction range of only 1. So hang on, okay, I'll put him here. So say that the Union fellow moves here. Outside his reaction range, Trimble can do nothing. The Union fellow's on a road, he can continue 1 more. Now, say Trimble had... Okay, I have to put Trimble a bit closer. So even there, the Union player moves there, Trimble can't do anything. Say Trimble had some pickets, maybe here and here. If the Union player moves here, Now this picket is within Trimble's Trimble's command yeah, so he could be back there. Trimble's command radius is 3, so that picket's in his command radius, and the Union movement is within Trimble's reaction range of the picket. So essentially Trimble lends his reaction range to any unit subordinate to him, and all pickets are subordinate to any leader in range. Any unit subordinate to him, he lends them his command radius. So this one moved within 1 hex of this fellow. So now Trimble can himself spend an action point and move in response to that, or he could move this one in response to that, or he could move any other unit in his command range, spending the action point in response to that. That is his choice. So what it means is that these pickets will be used as screens, and Trimble places himself something like this with these pickets in his reaction range, and any Union unit that moves within his reaction range of that, so the pickets are in his command range. Any Union unit moving within his reaction range of one of his pickets, he is able to react to, and he can cause any of his in command range supporters or himself to react to it. So in this case, that picket would be out of Trimble's reaction range, and it couldn't affect, say, if the Union movement went to there. And that is reaction range in a nutshell and completely. That is essentially it. But the point is you use pickets to pick up enemy forces. And so then they do act as a nice screen, because say this was Hooker coming down a road, 1, 2. Well, here you see he's on the road, he's heading straight for you, your picket picks him up, so you get a reaction, you spend the action points, and you can move further away. So you can see, and then if you move your screen back around later on in the turn, you can do the same again, and you can always keep your screen between the enemy and you. Another point is that if your screen is a unit, you don't move it, then Hooker's either going to have to skirmish it or go to a battle. You won't need to battle a picket, but if it was a division, that might be necessary. So again, that's a sort of general tactic, but that reaction movement and procedure is key. So that happens at any time in your enemy's move. You get a chance to react, provided the conditions are right. And then also, so say Hooker was doing that and Trimble moved away, then in the free reaction phase, any one unit, so maybe Trimble again gets another chance to spend an action point and do a movement, or if not movement, he could spend the action point and entrench. So you could say, oh, okay, he's coming to battle, good, I want him to, but let's prepare our defences, men. But you can only spend one action point in reaction, so it's either movement or entrench, and it can't be hauling your whole headquarters and baggage train over a ford. That's going to be too much for a reaction move. So that's very key in the game, and essentially that is, they say, how the game is played in getting your commanders moving around with their screens, giving them information on the enemy. And you'll notice that then that way Trimble could move in his movement phase, and then he could move in his march phase, and then in the enemy turn, the enemy might move, Trimble could react, he moves again. Then there's a free reaction, Trimble could potentially move again, only one unit per side though. And then in the forced march phase, perhaps Hooker moves again, Trimble can still react again, provided he still has the action points left, or if his superiors is within command range and can lend him those action points. So you can see within 2 player turns, 1 whole day, 1 game turn, or sorry, 2 whole days in the basic, but 1 game turn, Trimble could, or any fellow in this situation, could potentially move 5 times. So I think that's quite nice. Now, it did, at first I had this sort of strange feeling like, okay, so I was almost like, say that was Lee and this was Hooker. I was always like, okay, Hooker doesn't want to move because he's going to give Lee another chance to move and move further. So I don't want Lee moving so fast, so I'm not going to enter his the reaction range of any of his pickets. And I thought that was a bit odd because then it was kind of like the more I moved as Hooker, the more Lee was moving. Until I thought about it and I thought, well, maybe, that does seem like the fact that an army in enemy territory is, or with enemy around, is going to move quite slowly. However, as soon as they get notification of the enemy's whereabouts, they're going to say, okay, now I know he's there. He's not in front of me this way. I'm going to keep moving. Or, okay, you've pinpointed the enemy, because I guess it considers they've been scouting all around here as well. Oh, nope, clear, sir, that's where they are. So, and in that sense, it made sense that if I'm scouted out, the enemy's going to be moving quicker because now he knows where I am and where I'm not. So that is a key part of the game. So then the next point we go is the contact routine. So perhaps because of reaction or just normal movement, two opposing units were in the same hex, like such, then you enter the contact routine. So at any point in movement, the first point is an inspection. So each player reveals the face-up size of the units in the hex. So I could at this point say, okay, this is the Army of the Potomac, just say it was, and we're up against Trimble or whoever it is. I've lost my counters now. So you wouldn't know the strengths yet, or the strengths tracks. You only know what's at the on-map counters are showing. So, obviously you on one side you say, okay, I know that's a headquarters, and now you're saying, okay, that's a headquarters of, in this case, the 11th Corps. It's not the Army of the Potomac, thank God, or whatever. Then you get a chance for cavalry withdrawal. So in turn, the moving and